Well, there's been some notable changes in the NFL draft landscape, so you know what that means. Time for Mock Draft 6.0.
Another one?
Another one?
And another one. And another one.
Another one?
The 2021 NFL Draft is getting closer. Every day, there's a new development, be it another free agent signing or the latest news report. All in all, it's led to several changes in our latest first-round NFL mock draft. So, let's get right into it. Number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. We're starting to sound like a broken record here, but this should be the easiest draft decision in Jaguars history. Trevor Lawrence has been the consensus number 1 pick for some time now, and that hasn't changed over the course of the last week. Number 2, New York Jets, Zach Wilson. The Sam Darnold trade all but guarantees that the Jets take a quarterback. Several reports indicate that they're locked in on Zach Wilson. He's the perfect fit for the pass-heavy offense run by new offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. Number 3, San Francisco 49ers, Mac Jones. Jones' ceiling isn't as high as the other top QB prospects in this draft, but he's being heavily tied to the 49ers, who surrendered a king's ransom to move up into the spot. A pure pocket passer of Jones' caliber is the ideal fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense. Number 4, New England Patriots, Trey Lance. Our first projected trade. In order to get here, the Patriots trade the number 15 pick, the number 96 pick, and their 2022 first and second rounders. With the move, the Patriots select North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance. He'll be groomed behind returning starter Cam Newton for a year before taking on the starting role. Bill Belichick caps off a superb offseason by grabbing his QB of the future. Number 5, Cincinnati Bengals, Kyle Pitts. We had Penei Sewell in this spot for a while, but the more and more we think about it, maybe the Bengals will feel like the generational tight end prospect Kyle Pitts is too good to pass up on. Yes, protecting Joe Burrow is a must, but imagine a supporting cast of Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. Bengals can always address the O-line in the next couple of rounds. Number 6, Miami Dolphins, Jamar Chase. Sewell will be tempting here, but the Dolphins know they need to upgrade the supporting cast for Tua Tagovailoa. Landing Will Fuller in free agency was a nice start, but he and Devontae Parker just don't have the type of ceiling that Chase provides. Number 7, Denver Broncos, Justin Fields. Our second projected trade. The Broncos trade up with the Detroit Lions for the number 7 pick. In return, the Lions receive the number 9, number 71, and number 114 selections. The Broncos then select Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, essentially ending the Drew Lock experiment. What can we say? This team is one stud quarterback away from playoff contention. This would be a grand slam move for the Broncos, if they can pull it off. Number 8. Carolina Panthers, Penei Sewell. The guess is that Carolina settles on the best player available. In this case, it's Sewell. The Panthers need to bolster a leaky offensive line, and Sewell gives them that instant upgrade. He's one of the best O-line prospects in years, and Sam Darnold would have a much easier time transitioning to a new offense with a guy like Sewell protecting him. Number 9, Detroit Lions, from Denver, Devonta Smith. Wide receiver is the Lions' main need anyway, so trading down just 2 spots for extra draft capital and still getting Devonta Smith would be savvy work by first-year GM Brad Holmes. Having lost Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay in free agency, the Lions replaced some of the production by taking the Heisman Trophy winner, making Jared Goff a very happy man. Number 10, Dallas Cowboys, Patrick Surtain II. Sorry if it's boring, Cowboys fans. We're keeping Surtain in this spot because the secondary is their biggest weakness by far, and Surtain is the top cornerback in this class. How could Jerry Jones pass on the dream of pairing Surtain with Trayvon Diggs? This is how you fix your pass defense. Number 11, New York Giants, Micah Parsons. O-line might be the Giants' main priority, but Joe Judge could use a workhorse linebacker to bolster his already stingy defense. Parsons fits the bill. A guy like him could turn this defense into a championship caliber unit. Number 12, Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Waddle. They traded down with Miami for extra draft capital and still come away with a new playmaker for Jalen Hurts. Lots of needs on the Eagles roster, but you can't possibly ask Hurts to prove he's a franchise QB while playing with his current set of receivers. Number Number 13, Los Angeles Chargers, Rashawn Slater. The Chargers already addressed the O-line by adding All-Pro center Corey Linsley in free agency. But why stop there? You have a franchise QB in Justin Herbert. You have to protect him long-term. Taking Slater just weeks after landing Linsley would be the cherry on top of a fantastic offseason for GM Tom Telesco. LA really shouldn't overthink this one. The more linemen, the merrier. Number 14, Minnesota Vikings, Kwity Paye. We're not changing this pick from the previous mock drafts. Mike Zimmer's defenses usually consist of quality pass rushers, but the defensive line was just a mess last season. Injuries didn't help, we know. If the Vikings can resolve Danielle Hunter's contract situation and pair him with Paye, well now, this defense could turn into a quarterback's worst nightmare. Number 15, Atlanta Falcons, Christian Darrisaw. They may as well take the best player available who can help them win now. That would be Virginia Tech offensive tackle, Christian Darrisaw. Atlanta's once dominant O-line has taken noticeable steps back over the years. Taking Darrisaw will hopefully fix the rushing game and give an aging Matt Ryan more protection. Number 16, Arizona Cardinals, Caleb Farley. Farley's injury history is concerning, no doubt. But the Cardinals lost Patrick Peterson and desperately need a corner who can cover the top wideouts in the NFC West. If Farley can stay healthy, he'll address that right away. Number 17, Las Vegas Raiders, Elijah Vera Tucker. The Raiders inexplicably gutted their O-line by moving on from Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown, and Rodney Hudson. So you'd have to think that they'll replace one of those guys by taking a lineman in the first round. USC offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker is the pick here. He's more than NFL ready and would fill in the void left by Brown. Number 18, Miami Dolphins, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. The Dolphins surprisingly fielded one of the NFL's best defenses last season, but they'll need to add to the front seven in the early rounds. The Notre Dame linebacker is a great open field tackler who would flourish in Brian Flores' defense. Number 19, Washington football team, J.C. Horn. Adding William Jackson III in free agency was a nice start, but Washington still has work to do in the secondary. Complementing Jackson with Horn, a grade A cover man, would leave Ron Rivera's defense with next to no weaknesses. Number 20, Chicago Bears, Rashad Bateman. If the Bears think Andy Dalton can succeed, they better fix their supporting cast. Allen Robinson and David Montgomery are nice pieces to start with, but another receiver would help. Bateman's size and frame could go a long way towards ending the Bears' struggle in the red zone. Number 21, Cleveland Browns, Jamin Davis. Another projected trade. The Browns acquire the number 21 selection from the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for the number 26 and number 91 picks. With the pick, the Browns take Kentucky linebacker Jamin Davis, whose stock has skyrocketed since his superb pro day outing. The Browns picked up Troy Hill, John Johnson, and Jadeveon Clowney to address most of their weaknesses on defense. They could still use another linebacker though, which is why adding Davis makes sense here. Number 22, Tennessee Titans, Christian Barmore. The Titans already signed Bud Dupree to address a woeful pass rush that recorded just 19 sacks last season. Now's the time to double down and add another pass rusher. Barmore was a force at Alabama, recording 9.5 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, and a trio of forced fumbles last season. Suddenly, a front seven with Dupree and Barmore looks very promising. Number 23, New York Jets, Nick Bolton. The Jets have a lot of needs here, but it might be hard to pass up on an explosive linebacker who's tailor-made for Robert Saleh's defense. Bolton would anchor a stout front seven that includes Quinnen Williams, Carl Lawson, Sheldon Rankins, and C.J. Mosley. Number 24, Pittsburgh Steelers, Tevin Jenkins. With Marquise Pouncey retired and Alejandro Villanueva gone, the Steelers simply have to take a lineman in the early rounds. Oklahoma State product Tevin Jenkins would fit well on a team that tends to develop their offensive linemen in rapid fashion. Number 25, Jacksonville Jaguars, Trayvon Merrick. Aside from promising corner C.J. Henderson, the Jacksonville secondary leaves a lot to be desired. Taking the best safety available in the draft would address that concern. That would be Merrick, who's an elite ball hawker with 20 passes defended over his final 2 college seasons at TCU. Number 26, Indianapolis Colts, Gregory Rousseau. Rousseau is one of the top boom or bust prospects in this class, but GM Chris Ballard loves taking risks, and the Colts need to address the pass rush with Justin Houston gone. The Colts already have 2 superstars in Darius Leonard and DeForest Buckner on defense. It wouldn't hurt to add Rousseau, considering that they'll have to get through Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen if they want to win the AFC. Number 27, Baltimore Ravens, Terrace Marshall Jr. The Ravens didn't come away with any of the top wideouts in free agency. The only noteworthy signing was veteran Sammy Watkins, but he's a low-end number 2 at best. 2019 first-rounder Marquise Brown hasn't cut it either, so it certainly wouldn't hurt to add another pass catcher to help Lamar Jackson. Could you imagine having to defend both he and Mark Andrews in the end zone? Number 28. New Orleans Saints, Jalen Phillips. The Saints lost Trey Hendrickson and Sheldon Rankins in free agency. Marcus Davenport hasn't got it going yet. In other words, the Saints have to find another pass rusher to complement veteran Cameron Jordan. Phillips' explosiveness off the edge and dominance in the run-stopping department would help offset the losses of Hendrickson and Rankins. Number 29. Green Bay Packers, Rondale Moore. The Packers front office hasn't gotten the hint that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams could really use some help. They missed out last year because of the questionable Jordan Love pick. So here is their chance to make it right. Moore would take a lot of attention away from Adams. He's a nightmare to cover one-on-one, thanks in large part to his speed in the open field. That sounds like a guy the Packers could have used during their last 2 NFC Championship losses. Number 30, Buffalo Bills, Azeez Ojulari. No Bills player topped 5 sacks last season. Leslie Frazier's unit really regressed, and it's obvious that help is needed on the defensive line. Georgia star Azeez Ojulari would help shore up the rush defense while adding constant pressure off the edge. Number 31, Kansas City Chiefs, Jalen Mayfield. Defensive end and offensive line are the main needs for Kansas City. We've been going back and forth, but then you remember the Super Bowl and realize that Patrick Mahomes totally needs more pass protection. Suddenly, drafting a guy like Michigan product Jalen Mayfield seems like a no-brainer. Number 32, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Asante Samuel Jr. The Super Bowl champions got away with a leaky secondary that mostly struggled against top wideouts during the regular season. Hard to imagine they'll be as fortunate in 2021 without making some upgrades. That brings us to Asante Samuel Jr. Like his father, Samuel Jr. has tremendous ball tracking abilities. Pairing him with another son of a former NFLer and Antoine Winfield Jr. would give the Bucs 2 elite prospects to build their secondary around for years to come. But hey, what changes would you make to our NFL first round mock draft 6.0? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around in TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.